So just a real quick update on the Deus 2, on my Deus 2, and how it's not performing well. Ever since I updated to that big numbers version, I just had a lot of struggles with depth, with tones, with stability, and I've tried everything, believe me. I've tried cleaning my coil cover, I've tried deleting all my Deus files, every single file on my computer, every single Deus file, even the Deus 1 files, and re-uploading the update tool several times. Try to get a good version of the Deus 2. I was smashing it out of the park. I was having some really good results with the Deus 2 at first. And once I updated, I had a couple glitches at first with the version 4. So I updated the version 5. And I was doing really good with the version 5. And then I updated the version 6. And once they came out with that equalizer setting, it didn't work at first on my machine. I was wondering if it was a software glitch, and then I deleted all the files again and uploaded again. The equalizer was not working on my machine. And I asked a couple other people if theirs was working, and theirs was working. So I deleted all the files, uploaded a new update tool, and finally my equalizer worked for a little while there, I think for a couple weeks. And I messed with it a little bit. And when I updated to version 7, I lost that equalizer again. The equalizer is not functioning. And of course, it's not performing like the old versions were. It's the same thing is happening with my detector. And I've tried that a few times. And just to clarify this, when you go to XP's website and you see the update version 7 on there, it actually has the older versions on there too. And I tried that. I tried after I updated to version 7, realized that it was not performing. It just wasn't hitting target. It just wasn't penetrating through my soil there. And I had a few videos out on that. I went back to version 6.1, which is the January 13th version, and it was doing the same thing as the newer versions. It was not penetrating my soil. So that version that they're offering on their website is not performing like that original version was. So they do offer the older version, 6.1, the January 13th version, but it's not the January 13th, at least on my machine, right? So I went back to version 7 again, back and forth, trying to figure this out. And then I deleted all my files again, every single Deus file on my computer, and then uploaded that update tool again to version 7, still doing the same thing. So it's got to be something wrong with my machine, and the equalizer is not working again. So it's got to be something wrong with my machine. I will wait for a newer version, see if they can figure this out. But I'm not the only one who's having these struggles. I don't know if I'm the only one to have the struggles with this equalizer thing. I didn't show you guys that in the past because it was just a software glitch, and I figured it out before just uploading the tool again. It fixed it. But now that my equalizer is not working again on my Deus 2, so you know it's got to be something wrong with my machine. I've never had so many problems with the machine in my life, man. So many updates, right? The Deus 2 has had 7 freaking updates, right? Had somebody comment, oh, Legend, they have so many updates. Well, the Legend has had 4 updates. The Deus 2 has had 7 updates. Just trying to get it right. You know, I'm going to have some more patience here, and I'm going to wait for the version 8 to see if they can figure it out with version 8. There's got to be something wrong with my machine. You know, a lot of other people are actually having this similar struggles. Just the depth isn't there, and they're not using their Deus 2 because there's just no confidence in the machine. When I'm out hunting, I want to be confident that my machine is performing at its peak, and it is not performing at its peak. It was performing at its peak. My best results with the Deus 2 were with version 6 and version 5. They were very similar performance, and they were really good versions. I really like those versions, but ever since then, I updated those big numbers. I just have had lots of problems trying to dial the machine in, EMI, instability. Just spent a lot of time pushing buttons trying to get it to shut up, right? Just to stabilize the machine in a lot of different sites, right? I have field tested the newer versions a lot, and I really didn't show a lot of videos because there's a lot of cussing and a lot of frustration in my part. And even with these newer versions, now I haven't really taken my Deus 2 out in the field in the last month, ever since I had basically updated the machine. I used it a few times out in the field and I just did a lot of cussing. Did a lot of cussing, right? The performance is just not there. And I'm going to have some more patience with it just for a little while here. I'm not going to be taking my Deus 2 out in the field. I just know that it will not perform. If it's not performing well on bench tests and out in my test gardens here, I know what it's going to do out in the field. I'm not going to even waste my freaking time with that machine out in the field, because I will just start cussing and I will not be able to pinpoint targets and have instability. And I'm going to wait for the new version to come out. And if the new version doesn't fix this equalizer issue, the equalizer's not even working, right? It has no effect on the tones whatsoever. And if this new version 8, if they even do come out with a newer version, or when they come out with a new version, I'll have some patience with it. If that doesn't fix the issues, my Deus 2 will definitely be going back in for some repairs. I can live without that equalizer thing, you know. I lived without it for a few weeks. I hunted without it for several weeks, and I was doing just fine, you know. But when it comes down to not hitting targets, I mean 5 and 6 4-inch deep targets in the ground there, and my Legend is just smashing it out of the park. I mean, that Legend is a freaking amazing machine. I'm telling you, it's one of the best machines I have ever used in my life. I'm telling you. The Deus 2 is also one of the best machines I've ever used in my life. But they are struggling big time getting this software issue figured out at XP. So the Deus 2 is on the back burner. And I will definitely be swinging the Legend around, because I have been having very, very good results. And just yesterday, I did all the uploading and all the software versions, and going back and forth on both machines. And the Legend is outperforming the Deus by a long ways. A long freaking ways. So which machine do I plan on taking out in the field today in about 10 minutes? The Nokta Legend. The Deus is on the shelf until they can figure this out. I'm not the only one who's having these struggles, right? They need to figure out. What I believe is happening is it's just not ground balancing correctly. You know, I get it out over my soil. Sure, it performs well on open air bench tests, but we're not freaking hunting in a test garden. We're not hunting in a lab. We are freaking hunting in the real world, right? If a machine performs very well in the real world, that's all I want. I could give a rat's ass about bench tests. I could give a rat's ass about tests on targets in the ground that I bury. I want to know how a machine's going to perform out in the real freaking world, and I want to use it out in the real world. But when a machine performs like that on just bench tests, and the Deus 2 on bench tests and out in my test garden there, I know what's going to happen out in the field. I've already done that. I've been there and done that. I've been that rodeo before with the Deus 2. struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled for hours and hours and hours. I struggled out in the field with the newer versions. With the Legend, I struggled with that 1.06 version, and I used it probably for about 12 to 15 hours, the Legend, and then I used my other machines, and now they came out with this newer update and they're offering the older version. You know, that's one thing that's different. I went a month and a half or 2 months, a month and a half without using my Deus 2 because were not offering those older versions. And I went back to that older version on the Deus 2, and it's still doing the same thing as the newer versions, right? So that older version that they're offering on the website is not the same as it was before. So there's got to be something wrong with my Deus. But Nocta is offering those older versions, and they offered those older versions right off the get-go. When they came out with the version 6, they had that 5 available, and then once they were not offering that version 6 anymore because it was not a good update. It was not a good version. Version 6 was a horrible version, but they only had that version on their website just for a couple days until they figured it out. There was just a minor software glitch in it, and once they came out with version 7, they're still offering that older version, and it performs just the same as it was when I was using that. I have a lot of hours on both these machines. The Nocta Legend is performing way better. At this point, the Nocta Legend is performing extremely well. One of the best machines I've ever used in my life. I'm telling you, straight up, man. And they'll probably come out with a few more updates, you know, on both machines to get them right. And I'm just going to be using the Legend. I'm just going to continue what I'm doing, put the Deus 2 on the shelf, you know, continue to keep on putting the Deus 2 on the shelf until they can get it figured out. I'm really frustrated right now with the Deus 2, and a lot of other people are. I am not the only one who's having issues with the updates. But this new version of the version 1.07 on the Legend, it's freaking badass. I was really amazed. Really amazed. The first 10 seconds I swung that thing over my soil and I took it out in the field down the park down the street. It's a freaking hot rod, especially that 6-inch coil. So today I'm going to take the 6-inch coil out again. I'm not going to take the 11-inch coil out. You know, the ground is really wet. It's been thunderstorming on and off all day long again today. So well, there's a little update there on the Deus 2. So it's on the back burner for a while again. So, you know, I have that luxury to have multiple machines. If you sell all your machines and go to just one machine, you don't have a backup anymore. I have a lot of backups for these machines, right? I have many machines that I can use, but some people don't. You know, they spent all their wad of cash on one machine. I don't put all my eggs in one basket, man. I want to continue hunting every day. If one of my machines break, I want to be able to use a different machine. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.